All right, so let's go over the study guide for your Unit 2 test. First question says, select all angles that are congruent to angle 2. Well, here is angle 2. The angles that would be congruent to angle 2 would be angle 2 and 4 are congruent to each other because those are a vertical pair. And then 6 and 8 are also congruent to angle 2 because 6 corresponds to angle 2, and then 8 corresponds to angle 4. You've also got that these are alternate exterior angles. Just a lot of different ways to be able to tell that those are all going to be congruent to each other. So what you should have had would have been 4, 4, and then we have 6 and 8. All these are going to be congruent. That's the ones you should have had for your answers. On this one, it says select the angles that are supplementary to angle 7. Well, here's angle 7. The ones that are supplementary are going to be all the ones that's not congruent. So 6 is supplementary, that's a linear pair. 8 is supplementary to 7, also a linear pair. And then 2 and 4 would be congruent to angle 7, or supplementary to angle 7 as well, because they correspond to 6 and 8. So all the even numbers right there would be supplementary to angle 7. And that's supplementary meaning that the angles would add up to 180. On this problem, it says line A can be described by the equation 3x minus 4y equals 8. Which of these is an equation of a line that is parallel to line A? So when it's in standard form, the easiest way for me to be able to tell what's parallel is the coefficient here is exactly the same as the x coefficient in my answer, and then the coefficient for the y is the same as the coefficient for the y in my answer. So if I got 3x minus 4y, 3x minus 4y matches up down here. That's going to be parallel. But let's say I didn't understand standard form. You could always stick it in slope-intercept form. I could say 3x minus 4y equals 8. And I could just convert to slope-intercept form. I can subtract 3x from each side. Boom. I'm going to have negative 4y is equal to negative 3x plus 8. And if I divide everything by negative 4, then I have y is equal to 3/4 x minus 2. Well, so that shows me that the slope for this one is 3/4. Let's just go ahead and look at the slope of the one that I know to be the answer instead of going through all of them. If you didn't know, you could convert them all to slope-intercept form. But let's just go ahead and convert 3x minus 4y equals 6 to slope-intercept form. I want to do the same math, subtract 3x from each side. I have negative 4y is equal to negative 3x plus 6. If I divide each side by negative 4, then I end up with y is equal to 3/4x minus 3/2 is what 6 over negative 4 will reduce down to. The only part of this that matters is the slope of 3/4, and you can see it matches the slope that we had before. So my answer in this case would be the third option. So 3x minus 4y equals 6 would have the same slope as 3x minus 4y equals 8. Now for this problem, we have the exact same setup. We got 3x minus 4y equals 8. We're using that same equation for that line. But now we're going to make a line parallel to that that's for negative 3, or that'll go through the point 4, negative 3. Well, I just did the math to show you that the slope of the line that we have is 3/4. And if you needed to see that again, just rewind it a little bit and you can convert this to slope-intercept form. It's going to give you a slope of 3/4. But what we don't know is we've got to go through that certain point. So what we have, if we have y equals mx plus b form, we are given that 3/4 is our slope, but we don't know what the b value is. So to find the b value, all we have to do is look at our point, plug in the x value for the x and the y value for the y, then we can solve for b and figure out where to go from there and what our actual slope-intercept form of the equation would be. So real quick, I'm just going to plug everything in. I'm going to plug, for y, I'm going to plug a -3. And then for the x value, I'm going to plug in a 4 because that's the point that I'm given. And it'll be plus b. And we can solve for b now. -3 is equal to 3/4 times 4. We'll cancel off the 4 all on the bottom. I'll have 3 plus b. I can subtract 3 from each side now, and I have that -6 is equal to b. So now I have my slope and my b value. So all I got to do to put in slope-intercept form is plug these in. Now I have 3/4 x minus 6, and that would be my answer. That's all you have to do. You would put this in slope-intercept form to find slope, which I already had here from the problem before. Set it up in slope-intercept form, plug the 4 in for the x, the -3 in for the y, because this is x and this is y in the coordinate point. Solve for my b, and then now I have b and m, so I have my slope and my y-intercept, and I can put it in slope-intercept form. This one's easier. It's already in slope-intercept form. You've got the equation y equals 3/5 x plus 6. Wants to know which one of these is going to be parallel. Well, 3/5 is the slope of this line. For parallel, it has to be the same slope. So it would be A. Option A is going to give us the same slope. 3/5 is going to be the slope for either one of those. Now for this one, we have the same equation, y equals 3/5 x plus 6. But now we want a line perpendicular. So perpendicular, we have opposite reciprocal. So we're going to start with 3/5. A reciprocal of that is going to be 5/3 because you just flip the fraction. And since our original is positive, to make it opposite, we just change the sign, make it negative. So we're looking for a slope of -5/3, which would be the C option. And that's be our answer. So -5/3 would be a slope perpendicular to the slope of 3/5. To find the sum of interior angles, we're going to use 180 times n minus 2. Count the sides. I know by looking at it what kind of shape I have, but I want to count the sides just to double check. I do have 8 sides. It is an octagon. So all I have to do is 180 times 8 minus 2. I plugged 8 in for n because that's how many sides I have. 180 times 6 will end up equaling 1,080 degrees. That would be the sum of the degrees. Now, if I asked for one angle, then I would take that 1080 and divide it by the number of sides, and that would give me the value of one angle as long as it's a regular polygon. Speaking of regular polygons, what is a regular polygon? A regular polygon, all sides are equal and all angles are equal. It's going to be completely perfect all the way around, exactly the same. All the angles and all the sides are equal to each other. Here's another one where we're given a certain point and we want it to be, in this case, perpendicular to this line. I'm going to stick it in slope-intercept form first, just because it's easier for me to show you the slope when I do that. So let's see, -6x minus y is equal to 11. I'm going to add 6x to each side. I have -y is equal to 6x plus 11. If I divide everything by -1 to change the sign, I'm left with positive y now is equal to -6x minus 11. And that the minus 11 part really don't matter that much. We're just really trying to find the slope here. So the slope of this line is -6. But I want a slope that's perpendicular to that. So opposite reciprocal. Reciprocal of 6 is 1/6. This was negative, so I'll keep my new slope positive. So a perpendicular slope will be 1/6, which is what we're looking for the equation of our line. So now that we got this, we can get rid of all this math. We don't need it anymore. We can get rid of this part. We don't need any of this right now. All right, so we've got our slope. We're going to set up slope-intercept form. Y equals 1/6 x plus b. We have our point of -12, 0. So I'm going to plug 0 in for y. We'll make 1/6 times -12. and it'll be plus b, and solve for b. And don't get confused thinking that's a 6. That's my b. This is my 1/6 over here. So if I'm going to multiply 1/6 by, let's bring down our 0 first. 1/6 times 12 is going to give me -2, because I ended up with -12 over 6, which reduces down to -2. And then I'll have plus b, so I can add 2 to each side. And I'll have 2 is equal to my b value. So now I have what b is, I have what m is. So I can just set up in slope-intercept form. Y equals 1/6 x plus my b value, which is 2. And that would be the equation of the line that I'd be looking for. And if you didn't follow the fraction part of the 1/6 times 12 or -12, let me go ahead and write that out for you. If I multiply those together, I end up with -12 over 6. That's how that -2 came about, that was right here. So in case you didn't follow that, that's the only thing that happened. It'd be the same as putting the -12 over the 6 and divided by the 6 and getting the -2. Exterior angle theorem problem. I have that angle 1 is 50. So this angle would be 50 degrees. Angle 4 is 65 degrees, and it wants to know what angle 3 is. Exterior angle theorem says that the remote interior angles, in this case the 1 and the 4, when added together will give us our exterior angle. So our measurement of angle 3 would be the same as those two added together, which is 115 degrees. So measurement angle 3 would equal 115 degrees. That would be our final answer. That's the only thing you're doing here. Add this angle to this angle, it'll give you the exterior angle. This problem's triangle inequality theorem, meaning pretty much if you got 3 sides given to you, you're trying to figure out which can be possible measurements that are side lengths of a triangle. When you're given all 3 of them, the only thing you have to do is add the 2 smallest numbers up to make sure they're bigger than the third. So 4 plus 4 is 8. 8 is bigger than 7. That works. Then on the next one, we have 2 plus 9. 2 plus 9 is 11. 11 is not bigger than 12, so that does not work. Then we have 5 plus 3. 5 plus 3 is 8. 8 is not bigger than 8. It's the same thing as 8. So this one does not work. But then we have 10 plus 12, which is 22. 22 is greater than 15, so that one works. So that would be your answers. When you're given this and you're already given all 3 sides, all you have to do is add the 2 smaller sides to make sure they're bigger than the third. All right, so this one's triangle inequality theorem as well. It gives you 2 sides and it says, what's the possible lengths for your third side? So the only thing you have to do to figure out the math on this, you take the 2 sides you're given, in this case 22 and 12, and you can add them together, and whatever you get, then that means that the third side has to be less than that when you add those together. If you subtract the 12 from the 22, then you get the side that'd be the lowest it'd be able to be. It has to be greater than that. So the third side would have to be greater than 10 in order for 10, or for the side to add to 12 and be greater than 22. But it has to be less than 34, because if you add the 22 and the 12 together, those 2 sides have to be greater than the third side as well. So I need to be greater than 34 or less than 34, which is what I have. And then I have to be greater than 10. Any numbers in between those two works out for our triangle. Looking for the perimeter here. I have an equilateral triangle. It says that CD is 10. Well, if it's equilateral, all sides are the same. 10, 10, 10. Perimeter is 30. All right, so what this question's asking, it wants to know pretty much what else is needed with what we have to use side angle side to show that these two are congruent. So if I'm going to use side angle side, then I have a side here and I have an angle, then I would need this side. And I have my side here and I have this angle and I need this side. So I need this side to be congruent to that side. So CB must be congruent to FE. So CB congruent to FE, that's all I need for side angle side. Now for hypotenuse leg, which is HL, I'm given the leg on each of them. I need to show that the hypotenuse for each are going to be congruent to each other. So the hypotenuse would be CA on this triangle and then FD on this triangle. So for hypotenuse leg, that's the only thing I'm missing. That would be my answer. Now, if I'm doing angle, angle, side, I have an angle and a side. I need this angle to make angle, angle, side. So I need angle C. And then on this other triangle, I need angle F. Angle, angle, side. So angle, angle, side, angle, angle, side. I need C and F to be congruent to each other. So my option B, angle C, is congruent to angle F. Do not overthink these. They're not that hard. You just got to understand which one it's asking for. And our last one is angle, side, angle theorem. So I have angle, side, I would need this angle. Angle, side, I need this angle. And looks like I've cut off a little bit on this one. Didn't really mean to do that. But it tells me that's DEF. I have an E and an F there. So this would be angle D. I need angle A to be congruent to angle D. And again, like I said, that was cut off a little bit. But process of elimination, it says this is triangle DEF. I have an E and an F. Then I should know that was D, even though I don't actually have it on there. And I apologize for that. I just screwed that up and cut it off on accident. But there it is. So it should be angle A is congruent to angle D, and that's it. Guys, this study guide, I know I went through it kind of quick, but really anything that you would need to see, you've got plenty of resources to check that out. If you don't understand how I got some of these answers, just go back and look at those type of answers on the work that we've done previous, and I think that will help you in your studies.